Hey, we have a special guest with us. Eric Jackman is the host of the Jackman Radio podcast, a contributor to House and Habit Substack, an alum of the Tulsi 2020 campaign, and he's the former New Hampshire coordinator and advisor to RFK Jr.'s 2024 campaign for president. He's currently advising MAHA, that's MAHA, MAHA Super PAC, which aims to inspire RFK supporters to vote for Donald Trump. Welcome to the show, Eric Jackman. How you doing, buddy?
Jimmy, thank you so much for having me on, and I'm doing great. Been really looking forward to this. It's great to be here with you.
So tell everybody about your mission and how you getting RFK supporters to now support Donald Trump.
Yeah, so the goal is pretty simple. I mean, it's not a huge leap for most people who are on board with RFK Jr. During his campaign, because there was a lot of synergy between MAGA and what Bobby was doing during his run. So it's really just appealing to people. It's just having conversations with them. It's just opening a dialogue, creating a space where we can talk about the things that we have in common and not focus on semantics and small things that divide us and too often can ruin movements and can ruin campaigns. So really what we're doing with this PAC is we're just reaching out to people, doing interviews like this. We want to do live events, and we want to get some field work. We want to get people out in the field to knock on doors, to have conversations with their neighbors, to host events, and to tell former Kennedy supporters and independents and other people out there who might be on the fence, it's okay to vote for Trump in 2024. And if we want to see RFK Jr. have some influence and some serious power and pull in the federal government starting in January of 2025, this is going to be our way to do it.
Yeah, but Eric, Trump's a racist.
Wrong.
Is it?
Wrong, Jimmy. So wrong. So wrong.
He's the racist, not the woman who locked up black people and poor black mothers for their kids being truant. They weren't even truant. One kid had sickle cell anemia, which is only affects black people, and they prosecuted her and bankrupted her. She lost her job. Did you see that case?
Yeah, I've heard about that. I mean, that's the beauty of what's happening right now with the fusion of Donald Trump and RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard, is we can revert back to when Tulsi absolutely destroyed Kamala Harris on that debate stage in July of 2019 there at the Fox Theater in Detroit. I was in the audience for that, and it's one of the greatest political moments, ever. And to be there live was incredible. But yeah, the hypocrisy of Kamala and Walz and all these people, they want to cry racism and call Trump a racist and say that they're crazy, and then they're out of step with everyday people. It's insane. It's insane. So what's really out of step is what I call her Kamala, Jimmy. We call her Kamala. What Kamala and company are doing to divide the country, and they're not focusing on pocketbook issues that Trump and Vance and Tulsi and Bobby are speaking to. That $100 at the grocery store doesn't go that far. How expensive gas is, how expensive our bills are. So that's the typical DNC bullshit talking point we've grown accustomed to hearing and seeing. So I don't put a lot of stock in that.
And so, what do you make of? People are talking about the Bernie to. Have you heard people talking about a lot of people who went from Bernie to supporting genocide have now tried to point their finger at people from going from the Bernie to Trump pipeline. I don't know if you've seen those. Some people with $40 million, other people, other people with their Malibu Ken haircuts, those kind of people, who are openly supporting someone who's an enemy of workers, an enemy of poor people, who made sure, even though she was a federal judge, commanded and demanded and instructed Kamala Harris to release prisoners of California's state prison system, she wouldn't, and she did that so she could keep them as being slave labor. She said that. That's what her office said in court. What do you make of those people trying to say that somehow Kamala Harris is better than Donald Trump?
I think it's insanity. I mean, really, Jimmy, all we've got to do is look at the company she's keeping during this election cycle and look no further than Mr. PNAC himself, Mr. Weapons of Mass Destruction, Darth Vader, Dick Cheney, proudly endorsing Kamala Harris, and Kamala Harris proudly accepting that endorsement. I mean, in what world, in what universe, parallel universe, is that something that we should feel good about and be happy about and be cheering? This is a guy who was a cheerleader for the destruction and the overthrow of Saddam's regime in Iraq and the destruction of that country. Over a million Iraqis dead. You know, all of our troops who were killed and then are now battling drug addiction and all the fallout from that war and those lies. So to see Kamala Harris and company welcome those people in with open arms is kind of all you need to know about it. Now, look, I make the argument. I was incredibly critical of Donald Trump with the neocons that he had around him in his first administration. We were not happy about John Bolton. We were not happy about Mike Pompeo, Elliot Abrams, Nikki Haley. They're all garbage. We don't want them around. And part of my appeal at MAHA and reaching out to former Kennedy supporters, Tulsi people, independents, is I am very confident that Donald Trump is not going to make those mistakes again, were he to win this election. So the contrast is very clear between what Kamala and company want to do and the people they have surrounding them. All these losers, as Trump said, all these losers, Jimmy, these Republicans are the Adam Kinzingers of the world. Okay, that guy's a lightweight. He's a total lightweight. Okay, he's a Ukraine flag in human form, and he's ugly. Quite frankly, Jimmy, he's very ugly. But all these people, these neocons who were coalescing around Kamala and that whole gang, and the $500 million they're raising from their ilk, really tells you what their agenda is going to be if they win in November. So what Donald Trump is doing and what RFK Jr. is doing, and Tulsi and everyone else who's out there making the case, they're drawing a line and they're showing that contrast, how stark the difference is between the people that are going to be around Kamala Harris and the people that are going to be around Donald Trump. I mean, I don't know if you saw in the Hill, Don Jr. and RFK Jr. published an op-ed together calling for détente and negotiation with Russia and Ukraine. We're not hearing anything like that from the other side. So
well, isn't that wild? That is so wild to me that somehow Donald Trump he ran on being an anti-war candidate. And when he became president, he did do certain things like ramp up the drone war, and he did kill Soleimani, which could have provoked a war with Iran. But he didn't, you can't, as far as I can tell, he didn't start a new war. So, isn't that ironic that the Democrats are now become the neocon party, and Donald Trump and RFK Jr. are fighting back against the neoconism of the Republican Party? I mean, the uniparty is neocon, but so it seems obvious to me that Donald Trump and RFK are not inside the uniparty, or they're not enough inside for the uniparty, which is why they've been trying to kill him, which is why they did Russiagate, which is why they did January 6th, and why they did 94 counts felony indictments of lawfare against him. They don't do that to any other president. They only did that to him, and that's the establishment. And take it where you want, Eric, with that.
I did everything right, Jimmy, and they still indicted me. Everything. I had a perfect call with Zelensky. It was a beautiful phone call. Okay. He complimented Melania's new shoe line that she had in Kiev, and it was selling like hotcakes. And then that false witch hunt came down, and it ruined the sales. It was terrible, and Melania was very mad about that. So I'm very angry about that. No, you're absolutely right, Jimmy. It's pure madness. Look, Trump got down there, and he there's a great clip of him saying the military-industrial complex, Jimmy, is a very real thing. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think he really grasped how entrenched the military-industrial complex and the militarism is down in Washington. Because as he says, he wasn't a Washington guy. He'd been down there maybe a dozen times before he became president. And Bobby makes this case that Trump was not planning on winning that election. I mean, anyone who asked me all my years of experience in politics, I'm like, oh yeah, no, Hillary's got it. She's going to win. There's no way Trump wins, especially after the Access Hollywood tape and all that BS. So I think Trump was just as surprised as, the rest of us or the next guy that he actually did win. So there really was no transition team. There was no real plan, Jimmy. There was basically, I'm going to run this campaign, take it as far as it can go. Over $1 billion in free press that he got. He was the monster that the press helped create. They want to deny it, but they were all eating and living off of Donald Trump's head. And he had no plan, and he didn't know what to do. He didn't know how to navigate Washington and who to hire. So he's bringing in Bobby and Tulsi to lead a transition team, which is a brilliant move, which is smart. They understand government. I mean, RFK Jr. always says, I have a PhD in suing the agencies, because he sued a ton of them and he's won. and he knows how to navigate the system. And obviously, Tulsi was inside the system. She knows how to navigate it, and she could bring in a lot of good people. So really, the difference right now is I'm seeing Trump having a willingness to listen to people that he didn't listen to before, and actually understanding who are the people that he should be listening to and taking advice from. That, you should not take calls from John Bolton. You should not put him in your administration. You should not give Nikki Haley. You shouldn't. She shouldn't be delivering mail. Quite frankly, Jimmy. Okay, she's a disaster.
Well,
So I'm seeing a different Trump this time around.
well, I hope that because the first his they say personnel is policy, and so his first administration, he had all the morons in there. He had all the bad people, all the neocons. The joke I used to do is he drained the swamp, and what did he find at the bottom? His cabinet. I
Yeah.
mean, he put lobbyists right from the energy from oil companies, and he put them right in charge of the agencies that are supposed to regulate those people. And so it was a disaster, and it would go a long way if you could convince Trump to come out and say that. And Bobby's been saying it, but I haven't heard Trump say that. In fact, I heard him hint that he was going to get Nikki Haley back in, and he was going to get Pompeo back in. You heard him do that, right?
Yeah, no, I have heard those things, and it is certainly something. It is cause for concern, but at the same time, I know that in the background and behind the scenes, a lot of this stuff is being addressed. I know certainly. I don't think this is an empty promise from Trump when he went to the Libertarian Convention and said, "I'm going to put a Libertarian in my administration. I'm going to listen to your concerns." Ross Ulbricht, censorship, the surveillance state. He's listening to all this, and I feel gained a lot of wisdom in those 48 months that he was president, and he learned a lot. And RFK Jr. is a legend when it comes to recognizing what he calls agency capture and avoiding putting wolves over guarding the chicken coop. He understands, like when you see Lloyd Austin running the Pentagon, or you
Direct
see
from Raytheon. Direct from
he,
Raytheon.
exactly, he sashayed from Raytheon's board right over to the Pentagon, Jimmy, and he was wearing high heels with General Milley. They had rainbow flag on those high heels. They were beautiful. And Rex Tillerson, that's putting Exxon in charge of our State Department.
That's
I mean,
right.
I remember hearing Trump say, "Look, we're going to go over there, we're going to get the oil. I'll send Exxon, and your head will spin." And yeah, that's actually what he ended up doing. But I really do feel that he is different this time around, and he has the eyes to see, and he's listening to people who he understands have wisdom on this kind of stuff, on personnel, on the fact that, like you said, policy is personnel and who you have around you. So I don't think he's going to get rolled this time around, Jimmy, and I'm very confident that he's listening to people who know what they're doing.
Well, if he puts Thomas Massey in his cabinet, that'll be an indication of which way he's going. So we'll see if that. I mean, I don't know if Thomas Massey's open to serving. I'm sure he would. Like to be a head of agriculture. I'm sure he would.
He appears to be open to that. I mean, I think him and Nicole Shanahan talked a little bit about that, and they tweeted a little bit about it. And Massey would be a fool not to entertain that if that offer's on the table. I think he certainly would, and he has a ton to offer to that. I mean, that guy is like Ron Paul Jr. He's one of the only guys we got in there, man, who's clean and who's doing the Lord's work, who's standing up to Israel, who's really serving the will of the people. So if people like that are brought in the fold, Jimmy, I think good things can happen in a second Trump administration, and that's part of being on here tonight and making the case for MAHA, which is Make America Healthy Again, and that's in all aspects of our life, including our government and government agencies and the people who head all the bureaucracy.
Okay, Eric Jackman. What is there a website you want people to go to or anything like that?
Yeah, that's www.maha.vote, MAHA.vote. And we got what we're all about on there. And if you feel inclined to get involved, sign up, donate if you can. And that money is just going to be put to good use to have these conversations and reach out to people and tell you that it's okay to vote for Donald Trump this time around. If you were a Kennedy supporter or you're independent or you were with Tulsi last time, you will probably still get invited to Christmas with your liberals in Massachusetts. I'm on the edge right now with that, Jimmy. My aunt's real mad at me. Down at my liberal aunt from Massachusetts, from Cambridge originally.
Uh-huh.
I've gotten some nasty text messages, so I'll let you know if she invites my brother and I to Christmas or Thanksgiving this year.
Okay, I want to keep tabs of that story. All right, Eric Jackman, good luck with your project, and good to talk to you.
You too, Jimmy. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, we'll take a break. We'll bring Kurt back in.